Welcome back to another episode of the Conversations and Libations podcast, and we've got a special treat tonight. Scott is joining us. Scott, you are the lead mixologist for Vignettes, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, we are going to try and dive into that a whole heck of a lot tonight, and we are test driving Andrew, what do we call this guy?
So it is a white whiskey margarita, also known to some as the Lincoln.
The Lincoln.
Which we'll kind of touch base a little bit more in the fast facts.
Cool. Well, we're going to give that a try, so stick around to hear a little bit more about that, and we're definitely going to get your take on this thing too, Scott, because you're the expert in the room, for sure.
All the pressure.
We are very much, like I said, we're novice in the world of alcohol. We like it, and that's pretty much where we land on alcohol. We make a ton of drinks, I would say,
we do, yes,
but
yes.
We're not professional. Andrew, I guess
I'd say I'm at least a little bit more than novice.
Yeah, exactly. You're more in the game than we are. David and I are just like, yeah, make us something good. Mm-hmm. We'll be around to test drive it for you. So let's just kind of start off real slow and easy. Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, tell us what took you into the world that you're in now.
So I've been in the service industry now for just over 20 years. I've been bartending for about 10 of that.
Okay.
And I was working with my friends, and he decided he wanted to start a rotating pop-up bar and asked me to be his bar manager, and we just kind of hit the ground running.
Ran from there, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So Vignettes has been around for how long?
It's been about 2.5 years now.
Okay, great. And if you're not familiar with the Kansas City area, I'm going to give a quick overview of what this is. So how many are you guys up to now? Because there's been a bunch at one time. I think I saw like up to 6 at one time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Vignettes is probably done. Should probably know this. Probably 15 at our location just by itself, and then we've done multiple locations all over the Kansas City area. So
yeah, I mean, you're kind of all over the place. I mean, we've come into, I think, 2 within the last 3 months or so. We definitely did a fall and a winter one. We haven't gotten to anything yet I'll call it the spring, but it's not really the spring.
Not quite.
After the new year, we haven't gotten into any of them. But the 2 that we went to was we did the Nightmare Before Christmas one.
Yep. And
then we did your Halloween one, which was at the original. I think that's the original location up north. Yeah. So we did both of those. My wife and I loved both of those. Yeah. And my wife, I would call, is like kind of, I don't want to say picky. That's not really the word. She just is like, I'm going to drink something like this. And that was pretty much what it was. So I think she got like the bag of blood cocktail, which was great for her.
Those are cool.
Yeah, so I was literally just like taking a picture. I was like, yeah, you look goofy and I love it. That's everything about this is great. But man, I mean, you guys have done this for, we'll say, a while now. Like you said, about 2.5 years of really diving in. And I would say they're wildly popular. So like what led you guys to want to do that?
So it started with, if you're familiar with Miracle, which is a nationally known Christmas pop-up company.
Yeah.
My friend Ed's like, hey, do you think we could do something like that for Halloween?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we can. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what we were doing. We rented a space out, and we couldn't make drinks fast enough. Like, it was lines around the block, and we saw that it worked, and people loved it. So we took that experience, and then about a year later, we're like, hey, let's just do this full time.
Yeah.
Flip the themes, and people love it. You know, if you can hit anybody's fandom, they're going to come. Yeah.
There you go.
I've seen so many different ones that you guys have done, I think, because there was like, one of the ones that resonated with me was the Office theme.
Office was great.
Which people out of the woodwork on that. I mean, there's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no doubt. I use references to that all the time on here. People don't get them, but, I'm sure that some of the listeners do.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to really say anything, but why not? The Office is coming back very soon.
All right.
It's coming back very soon.
Gosh. I am staying very in touch with you on that.
We're very happy about that.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I got to imagine that it's a big seller. I mean, for pop culture in general, that was just like a big time. So that definitely makes sense for that to be a high seller. Yeah. So what were the drinks for that? Now I'm curious.
Oh, man. So the Office was a lot of fun. I really let my creative juices kind of flow. So we always have like a group drink.
Sure.
For the Office, it was literally a gigantic Jell-O shot.
Nice.
Just give everybody a huge spoon?
With the mug in it that said "World's Best Pop-Up."
Awesome.
And they got to keep the mug, and they got to just eat this gigantic Jell-O shot, and people loved that.
That's awesome. Did you rotate the flavors, or was it just one flavor for the whole time?
It was always lemon.
Okay.
It was always lemon.
Okay.
And it was a huge pain to make.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I would pretty much have 5 every night.
Yeah.
That once those 5 were gone,
that was it.
And people would fight over who got those 5. As soon as one went out and people saw it, they wanted one too.
That was it. Yeah. I can totally get that. So like, how many was that for? Because I know that one was like for 4 to 6 maybe was like what I saw for the last one.
Yeah. So it was, I will say it was much more of a novelty because it's fun because it's a giant Jell-O shot, but it is food at this point.
Right.
So people didn't really even finish it. They'd finish half of it and be like, I'm done.
Yeah, we're good with that.
But, gelatin does kind of...
It'll sit on you. Then you start feeling like Jell-O. You're like, crap.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was cool, and people enjoyed it, and, the cameras come out and the pictures get taken.
Of course, man.
And then that just helps us because people post that.
Oh, yeah.
Where is this? And then they flock to us, too. So it kind of does its own advertising at a certain point, So.
It does, man. I can imagine that the hashtags alone probably just flew off the shelves on that one. That's awesome, dude. I mean, just like being able to create experiences is kind of what it feels like that's mostly about for you guys.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We especially the owner's been quoted to say, we're a bunch of theater kids that like to drink. So, when you're flipping the theme and you're, when you have to go from Shrek to Stranger Things, you have to go from medieval fantasy to 1980s in 4 days.
Yes.
It's a project. So
man, I can imagine. So like, how far out do you guys plan your themes?
We're getting better about that.
Sure.
For the first year or two, it was
back to back.
We need a theme in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? But we've started to get better. We pretty much know when one opens what the next one's going to be.
Sure.
So we're about 2 months out, we'll know what we're going to do.
Sure. So you guys, I've seen some of the other pop-ups. Usually they're around 2 months. Is that what you say?
It depends on popularity. Generally, we do like 6 weeks.
Okay.
But then like when we did the Taylor Swift one, we kept extending it to like 13 weeks because we kept selling out.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll be open another week, and the tickets would sell
You're
that
like,
day. Like, cool, let's extend it another week.
Yeah.
Listening to Taylor Swift's music nonstop 10 hours a day for 13 weeks.
That hurt.
It hurt.
Yeah, that's
it hurt. Thank God she's got a huge discography, so it wasn't always hearing the same songs.
Well, and I can imagine that being the same thing with any band.
Anybody,
like 10 hours a day of the same thing over and over theme wise. You're like, oh man.
Oh yeah, it's yeah.
It could be a lot. It could be a lot.
So I take it you never worked in a recording studio.
I never worked in a recording studio. I worked in a radio station, and that was a kick in the nuts.
Imagine 10, 12 hours on one song.
Yeah, no. I've done that with videos. Constantly doing the same thing. At the end of a video, you're like, yeah, I can't stand that song. There's nothing about this that I like. I remember making a wedding video once, and it was exactly the same thing. And I'm like, I will never listen to that song again.
Yeah.
Like I've felt that before. Not in that capacity. I will give you, at least you get to kind of jump in and change songs a little bit.
We absolutely, as the employees, we were like, look, absolutely no Taylor Swift for 3 months.
Yeah.
After those 3 months, we could start playing Taylor Swift songs again, but for the next 3 months, no.
Well, and heck, it's like, no hate towards her. It's just like, oh my gosh, the same thing over and over gets old. Yeah, I can feel that for sure. Man, that's wild, though. I didn't even realize you guys did one of those. I missed that theme, but man, that's... especially in Kansas City right now, that was probably just unbelievably massive.
We were packed to the rafters every night.
Yeah.
And then we do like live music on weekends, so everybody loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had a ton of fun with Taylor Swift.
Nice.
So I'm curious, too, because like I said, I've been a few times now, and just looking at your guys' layout and everything, how much work would you say in terms of like actual hours does it take to stand up your pop-up before you open?
So we close every Saturday. The last day is always a Saturday.
Okay.
And then we need to be open by the following Friday.
Okay.
So that's tear everything down and build everything up.
Okay.
As far as hours, it's tough because for those 4 or 5 days, there's somebody there 24/7. Somebody's there, whether doing it's overnight, doing something, painting, moving stuff, moving chairs, They're doing all kinds of stuff. So it's difficult, but we always like barely squeak it out. It's like we come in Friday and we're like throwing the last bits of everything out in the alley to try and get everything ready.
Get this out of here.
Yeah, it's hectic, but it's always a ton of fun, especially for someone like me who I get in the grind of stuff. And this way, every 6 weeks, I get to do something different. You know,
so
never get tired of it.
So from the bar side of the themes, when you guys are coming up with themes, what's the process on picking the drinks?
So that is solely my job. And I have a sort of weird way that I do drink. I work backwards. Okay. Because I don't think it's fun to just be like, oh, this one's Michael Scott's chair and it's an old fashioned, but I named it something from the show. I try to actually make the drinks relative to the show. So like Michael Scott has his own, for The Office, Michael Scott had his own salad dressing. Oh yeah. So I made a martini with a balsamic vinaigrette and like lime juice.
Oh, wild. Yeah.
And it came with like a skewer of like a salad. It was an alcoholic salad essentially.
Okay.
And it was incredible.
Did you guys go with the Scotch and Splenda? Gets drunk like Scotch, tastes like Splenda?
I almost did. But I do want my drinks to be weird but also taste good.
Yeah.
Right, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So what was that drink from The Office?
Which one?
The Perfect Cocktail or whatever.
Yeah, that was the Scotch one. They had like 6 different liquors and then Splenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I do remember the one very directly. He's like, Scotch and Splenda. Gets you drunk like Scotch, tastes like Splenda. I couldn't tell you the other. It's been a long enough time since I've watched it, but now I'm wanting to. I'm going to have to go back through. Here I come.
You're going to have to. It's coming soon.
Man, that's awesome. I'm going to definitely have to check that out because that's hugely popular. So then in terms of, as of right now, that have been in existence, what are like your top 3 themes that you've really loved that have been your favorite?
It was probably The Office because it was just fun.
Sure.
Bob's Burgers was.
Oh, that's great.
Wow. That exploded. We had somebody drive up from Orlando just to come to the restaurant for 2 hours to get back in their car and drive back to Orlando.
Just professional content creators to come out and check it out.
We legitimately did. We had people show up, like YouTube famous people show up. And it was awesome. It was really, really cool. And then probably Stranger Things. Stranger Things was a blast to do.
Yeah.
Lots of fun artistic stuff that we got to do with that one, and I'm a fan of that show, so it super helps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get to dive in. Man, I can imagine like just getting into some of these themes that you just get to totally like geek out on too, because like I'm a big sci-fi guy. Like I'm into all the, like I said, like I like Office, I like Bob's, like all that stuff is great. So I mean, you get an opportunity to really dive in, and I mean, it's kind of immersive, right? Like you get to really be involved. Like I said, you're really just like building an experience. Yeah. Part of that is like, I love this, so I'm going to make it as cool as I think it is.
Right.
And then try and get other people to think that same way. Like, I think that's awesome. And that's, I mean, kind of like what we're doing here, right?
Yeah,
like,
really.
We're trying to get people to understand some of the cool things that we think about these things. So, man, that is awesome. So, let's go back, let's say 5 years ago.
Okay.
You see yourself here?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, man.
I never did. The day that we signed the deal with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm like on the phone with my mom. I'm like,
check this out.
Your boy's partnering with the Chiefs.
And that's awesome. And that is so awesome.
As a bartender, who ever thought that that's where I would play?
Well, yeah.
I'd be talking to all these bigwigs at Arrowhead. And I never thought I'd be there. So.
Well, heck, I mean, just the reality that like, I think this is a great opportunity to like really dive into the topic too. It's like the fact that you can do things that you're excited about, the thing that you think is awesome and that you kind of are really involved with is bartending, right? Like now you get to create these experiences for people, and that has taken you into this world of like, I never thought I'd be doing this. Like, here I am, like you said, with some of the biggest people in Kansas City. Yeah. Like, honestly, I mean, if you're talking to those people, just rubbing shoulders with them, you're like, heck yeah, right? This is awesome.
It's a great resume builder.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
If I lose my job and I need to go do another bar, I could be like, well, I work with the Chiefs.
Do this. Yeah, look out.
They contacted you.
As long as I keep winning.
Absolutely.
They don't have to keep. That's the thing, though. They don't have to keep winning.
Well,
The key is that they were winning when you did it.
Right.
So
yes,
importance
that's true.
in a period of time is a big aspect.
Look, it has crossed my mind that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, not because I threw a pop-up bar there. I might have had something to do with it.
It's definitely possible that the pop-up bar excelled.
It was just that extra push they needed.
Yes, that is what they needed.
It gave them the confidence they needed.
Do it for Scott,
exactly.
guys.
Right.
Do it for Scott. He did it for us. I love that, man. And I mean, that's such a cool thing because, looking back in time, you're like, I never thought I could, be able to collaborate with some of the people that I have based on doing this thing that I just think is super cool,
Yeah.
Like, and just honestly something that you've probably just kind of dove into and you were like, this is fun. Let's see if we can make it happen. And then this, I would say almost like hobby-like thing became so much about who you are now. And that's awesome.
It really did. Like we got a building, we got everything, and we looked at our numbers. We're like, we need to open in the next 2 weeks, or we're not going to be able to pay rent on this business.
Oh my gosh,
it was down to the wire, man. We were flying by the seat of our pants.
Wow. Yeah.
So we did get really lucky too.
Oh yeah.
No denying that. We definitely got lucky.
Oh man, but that's part of it too. Like
Absolutely.
I feel like that's a really big point about business too. Is like you end up throwing money at something, and it's really just kind of like take a leap, right? And I mean, sometimes it doesn't pay off, but I mean, having played high level sports too, I've kind of felt a little bit of that, not throwing money into something, but like throwing everything I have and not taking a chance on like going and get a job or doing anything like that. Like having no money coming in at the reality of like doing something that could potentially not work out, which here I am old and fat and it's not working out anymore. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just awesome because like being able to sit with you and talk about how much you love that and what it's become for you is really, really cool. And like I said, we've talked for a while now about trying to get this going, and it's so awesome that we got a chance to do it because now we get to talk about you,
right?
Talk about the cool things that you've done for the city.
I've been so looking forward to coming on. And again, I apologize because you're right. We've been back and forth for months now, and it's just like,
okay,
all right, let's just set a date and do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what this is all about, man. Like that's the deal. Like we talk about it pretty much on our show all the time. Is like it's about being able to create an experience. It's about being able to just like enjoy yourself, and there's like no pressure here. Like we have no pressure. We don't intend this to be anything that's like, oh man, if we don't do this, like by now that's the end. And that's the reality for us is like, we're just trying to enjoy it. And you're letting us do that with you, which is rad, man. So no, we absolutely love the pop-ups that you do. And I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to go. Have you gotten a chance to go to them?
We've not had
I've been to a couple. It's been a little bit. It's one of the first couple ones we had went to.
Sure.
I've been following them.
Yeah.
And some of them look fantastic. That looks like the Halloween one.
The Halloween one was awesome. I enjoyed the heck out of that. And one of your bartenders, she was awesome. And I actually had her both times. if I could have her, help us every time, I would. But she's awesome. And she's like, okay, I'm going to bring you this because you told me what you like. And when you like it, you're going to want another one. And then when you decide that you're done with that one because you're going to go to something else and you maybe don't like that, then we're just going to go back to this one. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm not driving. Who cares?
Right.
Somebody's coming to get me. Let's do it. No, it's definitely awesome. And I will say that is definitely a big part of going to your guys' places. Like in general, there's a lot of hospitality that's built in. And I would say that your staff really, really dives into the theme, which is super cool.
Yeah, I have an incredible team around me. I tell everybody that when they ask about it, and they're like, "Oh, you do this and you make them." It's like, I have a team, guys. Like this is not a one-man show by any stretch of the imagination. My partner helps me with menus, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Does a lot of the art for the different pop-ups.
Sure.
So it is a team effort for sure.
Yeah.
I get to make the drinks, which is fun, and I get to be creative, and then I have somebody get to be the drink tester like you were talking about before, and they love that job, you know?
Yeah, heck yeah.
So
why not?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
Are
lot
you
of fun.
hiring for that position?
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, you want to come in, we usually do it the day before we open. We test all the drinks, need to know what they taste like. And
Hey.
I'm in.
You twisted my arm.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll bring you guys in.
No.
Where's the next
What's that?
episode? that we do with Scott. That's what we should do.
That's right. The next episode, traveling podcast.
It's on location.
The vignettes,
On location.
that's right. Yeah.
Testing
We
grounds.
made it. And by the end of it, we're just falling out of a stool. That's
usually how it goes.
Yeah, we'll just
Usually
see
how
how
it
it
goes.
goes. Yeah, we'll just take it from the top. We'll figure it out, right? Okay, so I'm very curious about this. What is your favorite drink to make and your least favorite drink to make?
I always have a sarcastic answer for that because, as a bartender, I get asked that a lot. It's like, what's your favorite drink to make? A Bud Light bottle.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
Love making a Bud Light bottle. Just crack it open
Super
and hand it
easy.
to you. Really, there's a lot of fun stuff to do. As long as the drink's good,
Yeah.
it doesn't really bother me too much. I don't like it when I have to rim and then shake and then wash and then do all these things. That gets tough, but
Absolutely.
especially when you're doing such volume, because that's when you get hit with 12 martinis at once. It's like great when I'm slammed. And,
Yeah.
but other than that, no, I don't dislike making any drink or like making a drink more than any others. I like the drink the most if I'm going to drink it.
Of course. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
That's when I like to make a drink the most.
Yeah.
So what is your go-to cocktail for yourself?
The Black Manhattan.
Black Manhattan, and what is that?
So it's going to be just like a normal Manhattan, but instead of vermouth. So I'm not a huge vermouth guy.
Sure.
You use an Amaro. So I usually use like an Averna or something that adds a little bit of spice to it.
Sure.
And that's my favorite cocktail for sure.
Very cool. So what is something that you would never be caught drinking?
Bud Light bottle.
Maybe.
Malort maybe. I don't know. I don't. I can appreciate pretty much any kind of cocktail. There was some crazy one, like the one we did with Stranger Thing was a shot of tequila with escargot in it, and I didn't do that one.
Yeah,
I'm not. I did escargot
you
once.
Feeling it?
I tried it.
And that was it for
Not
you.
doing it ever again. So
I'm not feeling that one.
Something about drinking a slug. I
can imagine, man. I can imagine. Yeah, you're just like, no, we're gonna just we're just gonna throw this out there. Somebody's gonna like it, and that's enough for me. And I'm not gonna.
I feel like that's one of those drinks that you're gonna catch the attention of people like me, where it's I gotta at least do it to say I did it.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. We have a lot of people. Not every pop-up, but every now and then we'll have what we call the punishment shot is the staff, and it's the one that you order for your friends.
Yep.
You order the good one for yourself, and you order because their friend has to drink it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Now you have to. I bought you the escargot tequila thing. You have to drink
it. You can't not. Right. I did this. This was for you.
That's almost as bad as the bar mat special.
Right. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah. What else they call it? The New Jersey Turnpike.
Yep.
Yeah. No
the,
thanks.
The free birthday shot.
Yeah. Anything that's free is never good. That's how you know. Yeah. No thanks. But man. That's hilarious, though. I can imagine just creating those things and just being like, nah.
And most people are like you. They'd be like, well, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah,
because you're never gonna get a chance to try it again. Probably,
that's
not
exactly
something that's
true.
on a menu.
I've got a pretty good rule. I'll try everything twice, but there's some things.
No,
there's some things, man. I probably won't try.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So what's a cocktail or anything that you've made within the pop-ups that you were surprised by in terms of how well it was selling or its popularity?
Oh man. It's always the weird ones. It's always the really weird ones. We had a basically an alcoholic soup with Worcestershire sauce and beef bouillon.
Bloody Mary? Was it a Bloody Mary?
No, it wasn't. it wasn't. And I was like, and I liked it. And it was about 50-50.
Okay.
Of people that would order it and then order two more.
Oh wow,
or
yeah.
people that would be like,
I
do not want this.
This is not for me. Yeah.
It's all right, man. It's about 50-50. So it's always interesting. You get your picky people that you just Nick. I don't understand why they ordered the thing they ordered.
Yeah.
Because they, this tastes like bubble gum. It's like, well, yeah, it's called the bubble gum.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like bubble gum. Well, then why'd you order the bubble gum one?
Should have went with something else. Yeah. Better idea for you.
Right.
Oh man, I can imagine too. Especially in the world of alcohol, because the price point is typically a lot higher than your other probably industries.
Oh yeah.
That if you're sending out a drink, the cost of that drink is relative. So if you're getting it back because somebody's like, well, I don't want that. You're like, well, you suck at choosing what you like.
Right.
Or you're bad at reading. It's one of those two.
Right.
It's got to be one of those two.
It happens all the time because we have a lot of crazy ingredients that we sometimes use. And people they just don't know.
Oh, sure.
Because like people are like, oh, absinthe, and they've never actually had it.
Never had it.
They hate black licorice. And it's like, you're going to hate this drink too. Like, just so you know.
Yes, absolutely. And that's such a distinct flavor too. It's like you can't miss it.
Yeah, no.
It's not like it just hides in there. No, I get that, man.
It hits you in the face.
Yeah.
If absinthe is in there, you're going to taste it.
Oh, you're going to know. You're going to. What did we have? What did we like that had the absinthe in it?
Sazerac.
The Sazerac.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right.
I love
Fantastic.
a good Sazerac. Yes.
Eventually, we start running through so many different things.
I know.
Forget what we have, man. Yeah. No, dude. I can imagine that being really just like, what are you ordering this for? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Constantly.
Man.
If it has any kind of kitchen condiment in it, I don't want it.
That's fair.
I'm still saying vodka and soy sauce was not actually that bad.
But
I could see that.
it wasn't that good.
I mean, I'd take another shot of it.
I bet you would, and I'm okay with that.
Gotta
You're allowed to do that.
try everything twice.
I can wrangle some up if you're down for it. I know where they got some.
I think it's your turn.
I didn't have to spin the wheel. I came up with the wheel idea.
Oh, you're spinning the wheel at some point.
All right,
Yeah,
I will do
he
it.
does
I will
have to
try.
do it.
Here's the deal. I will try everything I put on there because I stand by my creation.
That will be an episode in itself.
Yeah, we might add a few things to
You
that
do it
list.
alongside your crazy, I got to try all these olives. Let's get his take on that. Scott, where do you stand on olives?
I like them.
Okay.
I'm for olives.
Okay, so like, do you go to like the olive store that David goes to? Because he goes to like this place, like you have to knock and go behind a wall.
It's like a speakeasy olive store.
Exactly. That's where he goes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Nick didn't understand that there's more than one type of olive.
Okay, that is not accurate. I knew there was more than one type of olive. I just didn't realize that there were like preparations for olives.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know it was like a thing. Like, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fillet the center, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw some of this in there. We're gonna bake it, and then we're gonna bring it out. And we're gonna throw it into a cocktail. Then we're gonna pull it out of the cocktail, and we're gonna put it in a jar and send it out to people.
Yeah, and?
Holy hell, that's a process. It hurts my brain. I get it now. I mean, heck,
I found about 6 different types of olives so far that I'm going to bring on and have you try them. So that you can see that there's more to it than manzanilla.
See? Do you know what he just said? See?
Nope.
He says all kinds of words. Apparently, he does that with cinnamon, too. Don't get him started on that. I don't know that one.
There's only 2 types of cinnamon.
That we know of right now.
Well, yeah.
Well, I haven't been to the cinnamon store
I'm
either.
aware of.
So David is also very into the culinary world, so he really dives into that. So we kind of have that bickering match pretty much every episode.
That's right.
Yeah. Right. Wouldn't be a Conversations Libation podcast
There's also going to
it.
be some cornichons on there.
Cornerstones?
Yes. Cornichons.
Oh, what?
You'll find out.
That's fine. That's fine.
Don't forget the pickles.
I get it.
Have to have
no
pickles on
pickles.
there.
I will not do the pickle.
No,
Pickle
you
I'm
said
out on.
last episode that you will at least try the pickle if we put the pickle on there.
All right, if I said it, I'll do it. That's fine.
Yep.
I can do
It's
that.
recorded.
I'm cool with that. I
got
respect it. I'm in for it. I just have to. Like I said, I'll try it. I'm not gonna punk out. I'm gonna let it happen.
Okay.
Scott, dude, you guys are doing big things. What is next for Vignettes?
So I need to be super careful about
Sure.
what I say.
No, that's okay. That's okay. If you guys have cool plans, keep them to yourself.
We certainly there's nothing set in stone, but we've had other organizations reach out to us since working with the chief. So
very cool.
Hopefully that continues because that's great for us.
Yeah, the ball's just rolling.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that's certainly something that might be coming up. But as it stands right now, we're just going to keep going, doing what we're doing, as long as people like it. And if we expand, we expand. If we don't, we don't. But we're gonna be there, and we're gonna be doing our thing, and we're gonna be having fun. So
heck yeah,
sounds like you're doing all the right things already.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Well, we also got very lucky in certain aspects. So, but there's always some of that involved.
Yeah. So what would you say? I mean, obviously you guys have a lot of ideas coming up for different pop-ups that are happening. How do you land on an actual theme? And once you land on that theme, what is it that really is the driving factor in like, this is going to be successful?
So there's kind of parts to that. So it is something of a team effort.
Sure.
Where we all just kind of discuss what we think would be a good idea. And then we'll land on one.
Right.
But generally a big part of that is, like I'm a big Bob's Burgers fan, and my partner's a big Bob's Burgers fan. So we were like, we want to do this. We're going to be passionate about this. And that's huge.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just do something that's popular and none of your staff really cares.
Right.
Because you can tell. You can tell that it's phoned in.
Oh, for sure.
So if there's someone that's really like, I want to do this, and they're passionate about it, you sort of let them go if you think it's going to be busy, you know. Because that's the biggest thing is we want customers.
Yeah.
You know, so we've had, as I'm sure you can imagine, so many recommendations of people being like, you should do this.
Oh, I can imagine.
99% of them are awful ideas.
Yeah.
just terrible.
It sounds good in their head, but
in their head, some show that no one's ever heard of from 30 years ago. It's like, man, we're not doing that. Like, I've never even heard of that, so no.
I can imagine that being just, I don't want to use the word annoying, but you're just like,
yeah.
You just smile and smile and you're like, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then they leave and you're like, I'm not doing that.
I love where you're coming from. I'm not liking the execution.
Right.
Yeah. No, man, I totally get that. So then I've seen it once when we went to it was called Apparitions, right?
Yeah.
For the Halloween pop-up.
Yep.
A couple of costumes come in. What's like the craziest costume you've had come in that is like very to the theme?
The office was filled with Dwights.
filled
with Dwights.
What time of year did you guys do that one?
So that was January 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, filled with Dwights. Lots of people in Bob's Burgers came dressed as Bob's Burgers characters.
Sure.
Stranger Things.
Oh, I bet a ton of them.
Ton of them for Stranger Things.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Well, and just in general, like the overall kind of I would say like the overarching theme for Stranger Things is just like 80s.
Yeah.
So like probably just crazy 80s outfits.
Yeah, crazy 80s outfits. We had, let's see here. Those are the big ones that people really get dressed up for. We had when we did Barbie.
Oh, yeah.
People went really hard on the pink. We're doing Dolly Parton right now. That's our current one. And
we were just talking about that.
You guys should come out and see it. It's a lot of fun, but we have a lot of people coming in and teased up wigs and cowboy boots, and people make a night of it.
Absolutely.
So, and that's
how long
great.
will you have that one be running for?
That one goes right up until March 16th, so the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. Well, we might have to make us a night out of that, kids. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Come join you there.
I want to see you tease your hair.
This don't tease, man. They don't tease, and my hips don't lie. So those are the two things you can guarantee on me. But man, I mean, see, like that's an example of a great theme that is like a hugely popular topic.
Yeah.
But like an interesting theme, right? So like, what does the inside look like? Of what you can say without having people.
It's covered. Well, sure. It's covered in quotes.
Sure.
It's covered in quotes. Huge pictures of Dolly from her different.
Oh yeah.
Eras, I guess, is what everybody's saying now.
Yeah.
But we have big pictures of that. We have neons that say 9 to 5 and Jolene and all this stuff, and then we have the live music on the weekends, and people just go crazy for it. We're having to usher people out, because it's like, hey, your time's up.
Time's up. Yeah.
We got a full lobby of people trying to get in here. So.
Right. We fully ran into that. I was like, oh no. You got 12 more minutes, right?
Right.
Nope. Pound that and get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, you got me.
for the crazy busy ones, it's a nonstop struggle.
Yeah. I can imagine.
But that's good. It's good that people want to stay.
So you actually have a time allocation for.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half.
Okay. That's respectable.
And then again, if we can work it out that you can stay, obviously we want you to stay as long. But some of these, like the Taylor Swift one, even Dolly so far, it's like
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we're packed in here and we got.
You got to go.
But also the whole point of having the reservation planning, I mean, realistically,
right.
which I mean, I'm sure probably also plays a little bit into your guys' favor to have repeat people coming back too.
Oh yeah, like I never would have thought we would have regulars at that kind of bar because you might like Bob's Burgers, but you don't care about Taylor Swift or you don't care about any of these other things. No, we have people that come to every single one.
They're just there to check it out.
Whether they like it or not, whether they like the theme or not, they want to come and they want to see what we did with it.
Yeah,
and we love that. Nice. And new drink menu every time.
Oh yeah. Well, and also like the thing that I think is cool about that is like I can go to a bar. I can sit at a bar. I can do whatever I'm going to do at that bar. More than likely, I'm going to a sports bar. Sure. Probably going to sit there and we're probably going to drink a beer. Probably going to eat some kind of food and I'm probably going to watch a game. I can do that at my house. Right?
Yeah.
Like I just can. So the reality of me going to a bar like that is not high anymore. Now that I've got a little one, like I'm more likely to stay there. But if I can make like an evening out of something like that and say like I'm going to dedicate this time to go and have a fun night at something I've never done before and I potentially will never be able to do again. Oh.
Yeah,
there's no reason not to. So again, creating the experience is hugely popular, and like you're getting something back too. Like you're getting the opportunity to see like the enjoyment that your guests are having.
Oh yeah,
because now you're like, well, hell, I did something cool, and people will really think so too. It's not just me being like, yes, this is rad.
Yeah, and it is really satisfying when you did a really good job and you get somebody that comes in. When we did Lord of the Rings, it was like,
oh man,
the door to go in to the bar was like Bilbo's Hobbit hole door. We actually made.
Wow.
One of the first customers that we had that had made his reservation like forever in advance, like comes in and just starts crying, like he's having such a good time. Like he was like the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, and like he just started crying. It's like that's awesome. I'm glad that
that's cool.
You're enjoying this that much. That's what we do it for.
Absolutely.
And we saw that a lot with like Bob's Burgers and Stranger Things too, where people like, this is their fandom or this is their comfort show.
Yeah.
And now they can just immerse themselves with it.
Absolutely.
And people really love that.
See, I love that too. And that was one of the reasons that we did the Nightmare Before Christmas one too, because my sister is just a huge, unbelievably huge Nightmare Before Christmas nerd. And, like she was just overpsyched about it like the whole time. Like she geeked out on it. And, I think you guys had like I want to say it was a big Oogie Boogie in the corner.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, I got to get a picture with that.
Like a 12-foot tall Jack Skellington looking over the entire bar. It was a lot. It was cool.
It was cool. Yeah. And I mean like things like that, especially for, I'll say for that, like that was my sister and I's childhood, So like being able to recreate something that we don't get anymore is a big deal. And like, we try and share that with our littles and everything, but right now they're just not that age, just don't see it. But
right.
Things like that I think is a huge importance too. Like now you're creating this big time nostalgic event.
Oh yeah.
And that's like so cool for people.
That was the case with the SpongeBob bar. I'm a little too old. I'm a little too old. SpongeBob was a little bit after my time, so I didn't really get that. But the nostalgia factor, and I'll tell you, SpongeBob people go hard. Yeah, they go hard.
I can imagine. Yeah,
it's rounds of shots, rounds of drinks,
that's awesome.
Constantly. We had a bubble machine that we had a guy who's pretty much his whole job was just run around the bar and spraying people with bubbles. To have a room full of grown adults cheering for bubbles, like they're bubbles. It's like, hey. If you're having a great time,
there you go.
I love
we
it.
are too. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are definitely doing something that people are loving, enjoying. Just like they want to be around, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if like you said, this isn't for them, the next one might be.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So you're continuing to rotate that and make something that's like, well, we're gonna hit eventually, right? Like, we're probably gonna hit just about the majority of legal aged individuals in the city. And you're like, well, this is great. Like you guys are just continuing to make that happen. And that is so cool to see. And I mean, that's the whole point of like getting in touch with you. We got there and I was like, this is awesome. Like I love Halloween. My family loves Halloween and we always have. And I mean, like my dad, I mean, he'll build stuff like that, like massive, huge things. We do all kinds of stuff. So we're like, Halloween is rad. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Oh yeah,
so
we're all big Halloween people.
So that, of course, like how you said, it kind of started on a Halloween theme. Yeah. And I was like, we got to go do this. And my wife surprised me with it. And I was like, all right, my two favorite things: alcohol and Halloween.
Right.
Let's do this.
You get like a little bit of a Halloween, like a little bit of a haunted house feel with alcohol. It's like perfect. You know?
Absolutely. Well, like I appreciate some of the, like the random things that go into it. I'll say they're random. It's not really random. I appreciate some of the like detail that goes into it is really a better way of saying it, because like, exactly like what you said, you walk in and there's like, you got to go through this like maze haunted house to get inside. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to do tonight. Let's do this.
So the animatronic like jumps out at you from the that thing. I think I was the first person they tested that on. And I didn't know that it was an animatronic that was going to jump out at me. And so my boss is walking me through. He's like, oh yeah, here you go. And, like, what is that? And I like lean in to like see it, and then it like jumps out at me, and I just punched it. I just hit it immediately, and I was just like, "Hey man, just so you know, this thing might not be around, because if I'm the first person and my first reaction was to punch this thing, other people are gonna do that too. Like we might break it."
See, now that really brings me to a fun question. Pop-up bar has ended. You're going to a new theme. What happens to everything inside?
So we do have a warehouse.
Okay.
So if we can salvage it, it goes to the warehouse.
Sure.
Again, like, so we did the office before, and we're about to do the office again, and it's nice to have a warehouse full of computers and desks and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So that we can just move it in. We're not having to buy new stuff. Sometimes it gets sold.
Sure.
There are people, when we did Bob's Burgers, all the art was for silent auction because it was all like hand painted art, and people loved it, and it was done in the style, and so we just had a silent auction.
Awesome.
Hey,
nice.
Yeah. And some of that stuff, like we had like a 2-butted goat butthole picture that like
why not?
Got to like $700.
Holy cow! Yeah.
Very cool. Great.
Like, why not?
The artists loved it because they're like, like that thing that I banged out in 30 minutes is selling for $700. It's like,
all right.
You got people asking for your card to like order one.
More animal butthole pictures.
Right. What about like with the dolly that you're doing now? You say you got the lights and
so we have a light guy. Is the best way. Like that's what he does. He always does the lights, and thank God, because it's more complicated than I could deal with, and he always makes it look perfect.
Sure.
But yeah, like a lot of those neons we'll keep. We've got quite a few. Yeah. And one of our back bathrooms, the whole idea has always been to put a decoration from all of the pop-ups we've done in the back one, so that people can see, oh, they did Star Wars, or they did, so we're trying to do that. It's just a matter of actually do it. We have so much other stuff that needs to happen right now that that some of that stuff just kind of goes to the back burner.
This is probably my last question. That way we can go on a little bit. But what would you say is like the biggest like hinge point? Like, what's the toughest thing you guys deal with when creating your pop-ups?
Probably time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's probably time. So when we first started the business, it was supposed to be that we do 6 weeks on and then 2 weeks off.
Okay.
And the 2 weeks would be breakdown and set up, and then it made less sense to do that because it's 2 weeks where we're not bringing in. So the 2 weeks becomes 1 week.
Sure.
And then we realized, okay, but we don't want to lose that weekend.
Right.
So it became 5 days.
You're like,
and we've got it down to mostly a science, but like when last customer walks out on Saturday of the last day, that door gets locked, and we have a crew that comes in the back door and just starts ripping stuff down. Like it all starts coming down. It all,
Oh yeah.
And because we have to get started
right away.
Immediately.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I'm real appreciative that you decided to come and join us, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen because you're giving us a ton of insight into what you guys do, and I mean, I appreciate it. I know you guys have been to it. Well, David, you weren't able to go to them, but we'll have to try it out.
I did check out the photos, and was highly impressed.
Oh, they're awesome. They're always a great time, and Andrew, I think you said you got to go to one. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. Yeah, at least from our perspective.
Yeah, we plan to. we're not showing any signs of slowing down. So.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. We appreciate what you do, and it's really just been a lot of fun because we get those opportunities to do cool things we don't get to do very often, so it's always a good time. So thanks for doing that, man. Thanks for doing what you guys do.
Thanks for appreciating it. That's why we do it.
Absolutely. Well, do you guys have more questions for Scott?
I think you answered just about all the ones I was thinking of earlier.
Yes, I kind of flew through. Sorry. So,
hey,
well, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. Welcome back. Good break. Got to shut our brains off for a second, which is always nice. I'm sure Scott was tired of me firing questions his way.
Oh, not at all.
It's about to get worse.
Okay. Oh, is it? Yeah, that's true. I guess that's fair. But those questions are really fun, and they're designed for creativity, which I know you're good at because I've seen it in action.
All right.
So let's jump into our fast facts. Andrew, you came to the table with this guy. So you said that we call this the Lincoln?
Yeah, so what I found is it's been dubbed the Lincoln by a few different people.
Okay.
So walking through the liquor store, as I do, trying to find something unique, found a white whiskey. Immediately looked at it and Googled white whiskey cocktail.
Sure.
It's the first thing that popped up. Apparently it is a widely known Oscar drink to drink while you're watching the Oscars.
Well, see, that would be a whole change of pace for me because then I would have to watch
You'd have to actually watch the Oscars.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because I don't do that these days.
So, funny enough, though, as it's called the Lincoln, based on Lincoln's birthplace of being Kentucky, Lincoln never actually drank. So it's funny that they would call it the Lincoln.
Yeah.
I tried for about an hour last night to figure out, besides his birthplace, why it would be called the Lincoln.
Yeah.
Zero relevance. Zero.
So that was it.
Someone decided to name it the Lincoln, and that was it.
Is this like how those weird words are created?
Yes. The few conversations we've had about words not meaning what they should. Yes.
Or like people that like what's that fear? Like you have a phobia of words that are spelled the same forwards and backwards. Like, is it kind of like how that guy came up with that word?
Yeah.
Just totally arbitrary, like there's no reason for it whatsoever.
Or the fear of the longest words being literally the longest word in the dictionary.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Totally get that. Yeah.
That's so just being awesome. Yeah. Like, it's like, why not?
Well, and there's like TikToks about this. Like, how was a word created? And this guy's like just freaking out because he's like, you're going to call it that when people are like literally having actual like anxiety attacks? Yes.
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
That's the whole reason.
That's great. Love it.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, first thought of it is like, it tastes like a margarita. Like it just does.
Yeah. So it's a very simple 3-ingredient drink. So it's 2 ounces white whiskey, 1 ounce of Cointreau or just triple sec, and then an ounce of lime juice. If using a pre-mixed lime juice, I would suggest using less because as we found out, this is more of a concentrated lime juice and it is tart.
It is limey.
Maybe half ounce.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a whiskey margarita.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it is good.
Probably the reason why it tastes more like a margarita is because being a white whiskey, it has none of the wood from the barrels. The oak. So,
which is interesting.
Makes sense to me.
You said aged less than 2 hours?
So specifically, a white whiskey can only be called a white whiskey as if it's aged less than 120 minutes.
Yeah, that feels like it's not aged. It feels like it's like I just sat it in the corner like a
forgot where I
stepchild.
And a lot of the times, which
time out,
we'll find out when we do last call with it later. It's got a punch. It's still a standard 80. However, white whiskeys are generally known to resemble like moonshine and have a more of a burn behind it.
Which makes total sense to me. So then I'm really curious. Scott, what would you do different with this drink?
Besides less lime juice.
True.
I don't know. Like as far as going for like a margarita, I actually like that you just went with like the standard margarita stuff. Because, plenty of people throw sour mix in there.
Orange juice,
simple syrup or Sprite, top it with Sprite or whatever. So I don't know. I think you're probably right about the lime juice, but it's still good.
Yeah.
I still like it.
Yeah, it's really tasty. I feel like to your point about like additives and things, like most people would do that. I feel like that's a very North American thing. Like if you were to go like I went to Mexico for a trip and it's like the amount of things that you add into a margarita is so like so little. Yeah. It's like, wow, what I knew to be a margarita before I went to Mexico was like unbelievably different than what it actually is supposed to be. And I was like, this is better. It's so much better without all this extra crap in it.
Well, when I worked at like volume bars or like nightclubs or something,
sure.
You go up and you're like, oh, let me get a margarita. It's tequila and sour mix.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That's the closest you're going to get to having a margarita. And I think most people just get used to that.
And then everyone complains about getting heartburn.
Yeah.
And then they only translate to, if I get a margarita, I'm getting heartburn. No. Yeah. If you get a fake margarita with sour mix, you're getting a heartburn.
Right.
Because you're drinking sugar.
Yes.
It's not great.
Exactly. Well, like, I mean, I would say even the tequilas that, we get imported to the United States are very much, or even the ones that are created here, which are not true tequilas, right? Like there are so many additives into them, just make them a lot sweeter and just kind of like, man, like I said, it's just like a headache in a bottle. It's like a kick in the teeth, which like, that's just not how it's traditionally made, which is a bummer, but no, this is really good. Very interesting with it being a whiskey. Like I didn't expect it to taste as similar to like a standard margarita as what I was kind of expecting,
The only thing I would say that it's missing from a standard margarita is maybe a touch of sweetness. So I didn't do any simple, which I thought about it, but I wanted to keep it as basic as possible.
But I mean, you're kind of getting pulls of sweetness from the lime anyway, so it's not that bad. But
you might be able to do like I personally really like Rose's sweet and lime juice.
Oh yeah,
that was a conversation we actually had. That was regular sweet,
right about what you want.
Yeah. And that's what I have. I've got the regular concentrated lime and then the sweetened lime.
Yeah.
And you're right. That probably would have been a better choice.
Yeah. Really good, though. I still like it. I would drink it again for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Scott, now I'm curious, too. How do you make your margarita?
How do I make my margarita?
Yep.
Like if I'm going to...
You're just at home one night and you're like, I want a margarita.
I'd probably do 2 ounces of a silver tequila.
Okay.
An ounce of triple sec. And then probably just lime juice, sweetened lime juice. I think that's probably about what I want. I tend to go a little bit heavier.
Okay.
And in case you didn't notice, that's 3 ounces of liquor in a drink.
Sure.
So I tend to do that.
Yeah.
Any of the drinks I come up with, my menus are always 2.5 ounces. So,
okay.
I just think that's the right thing for a cocktail.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like that seems right for a cocktail. Most places like, 1.5 ounces and then mixer. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, if you're gonna sit and sip on a cocktail like this,
I
think that's about right.
Well, and we've had this conversation a lot of times. Like David would probably be the more frequent drinker of the group. Like you have more drinks than probably Andrew and I regularly do.
Yeah, I think when was last night?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So like realistically, I love a good cocktail, and I definitely am gonna try and make as good as I possibly can, because who wouldn't? Sure. But the reality for me is like if I'm gonna have maybe a drink or two a week, realistically, like I said, we both have little kids, so like the reality of like getting to sit down and just like do nothing and have a drink is not super frequent right now.
By that time it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want something good and I want something fast, and I really want something easy. So like the reality for me is like if I'm gonna have something I'm just going to sit down and enjoy, it's going to be a really simple drink. So like this particular drink, we've said this a few times before, I could see this being like a freezer door cocktail.
Mm-hmm. Right? Oh yeah.
Like easily, just throw it together. I can, pour a little bit out and I'm good to go. Which I like about it. And I think that I've said this a pretty substantial amount of times, is that if I can make something easy, I'm more likely to drink it. Just because I don't want to do all the extras. Yeah. Like I'm not breaking out like a frying pan to make sure I get this particular, things like that. Like it's all within, like in your creative process is very important because you're doing those things ahead of time, right?
Right.
I have 10 minutes to make a drink. I don't want to do anything else. And I'm probably making 2 of those at once usually, which to me is just like, I finally made it downstairs after getting the little one to bed. That's what I want to do, is like, I want to make this as streamlined as possible. So stuff like this is great, really easy and fast.
I do typically have 2 drinks a night.
Sure.
Maybe 3, depending on how the night's going.
Or how the day went.
Yeah. And it'll usually either be a martini, a dirty martini dry, or a simple old-fashioned. Because they are quick, simple, easy to make.
Well, and to your point, you've made old fashions so often that it is second nature to you.
Oh yeah.
That's a nothing deal.
Also, Nick, in case you didn't know, a dirty martini has olives in it.
No, it has olive brine in it.
Lose the tude, okay? Don't you be coming all sideways at me. I know what martini is.
You could use Dirty Sue, which is nothing but dirty olive oil.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm going to not do that. All I'm saying right now is Andrew's lucky that Scott's between us. He's holding me back. Holding me back. Okay. Right. No, I really like the cocktail a lot. I do not understand why it's called a Lincoln. That feels silly to me.
That doesn't make any sense, but I'm with you. I like it. Short, simple, easy to make.
To the point. Really
I'll be
basic.
doing this again very easily.
Yeah. So that brings me to a random question I did not ask you earlier, Scott. What is something that your bar, and I say this for your home bar, what are you never not going to have? Like every single time you go to the cabinet, you know for sure you have this.
Bitters.
Okay. Interesting. Versatile, ready to roll.
Bottles?
I've got all different kinds of different bitters.
What's your weirdest bitters you have?
So I don't know if it's weird, but one of them I went to the bartending convention in Las Vegas, and I think you can actually find them here now. But at the time they were new, and they were called Bitter Queens. Huh. They have a tobacco flavored.
Ooh,
interesting.
Really? Okay.
Bitters that's really good. Like really works well.
So what are you using that in?
I would use that for like a Manhattan or an old fashioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Do you know what type of tobacco?
I don't.
I do know this was back in my culinary, to where they're actually using cigar leaves. The tobacco that's made cigars are made of.
Sure.
They're using some of those leaves as a culinary additive. So I'm kind of wondering if it's the same type of tobacco leaves that they're actually.
I didn't do enough research on it. I like I said, I was at like a convention and they had like this 4-pack and it had like orange, aromatic, maple, and then tobacco. And I was like, I really just want tobacco.
Yeah, I would really like to try that.
Buy a 4-pack of that.
Yeah, right. Like I don't need the other ones. Just
so is that something you can find then?
Yeah. So I know there's a place right up by us called Bitchy Amaro's that.
Oh yeah,
they have a ton of bitters.
Okay, cool,
and all different flavors and stuff. And it's just it's one of those things you were talking about simplicity.
Yeah,
that I can do a couple dashes of bitters and then just like a rye, and I'm good. Rye meat with some bitters, like I can sip on that. It's super easy.
Yeah, that's another thing that we talk about a lot is like teach their own, right? Like I'm not one to say like. I don't like that, so you shouldn't drink it. Like, I don't care what you're doing as long as you like it. Because, like, most of my wife's family does not drink alcohol at all. So I try to make fun things that, like, they can enjoy.
Yeah.
Because, like, realistically, like, if you're not into alcohol, more likely you're going to end up drinking something that's really sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, I try to make things that are, like, kind of versatile. Yeah. And that is hard as hell.
It is.
So, like, thinking about things that, like, in advance that I can make is, like, oh, like it's a really like a oof moment, like trying to figure out how I can do that. Cause like I said, we had a birthday that we did and I was like, I want to make a margarita for that. Cause we're doing taco night, and I was like, I spent like a whole day trying to figure out what everybody would like. And then I get there and I make like 4 of them. I was like, damn it. What a waste of a day. Which really it wasn't cause it was fun. But it's just like, it is, I can imagine what you go through regularly now, like, just trying to do that for a small group of people versus like I'm going to do that for the whole city.
It is tough, and there's a method to every menu. Like I have certain bullet points I hit with every menu.
Yeah,
I have to have a whiskey drink. I have to have rum. Have to have vodka. Have to have tequila.
Yeah,
because there's undoubtedly someone that they only drink tequila.
Right.
Oh yeah,
they only drink rum.
Yeah,
and then or vodka, probably most common. So you have to, I want to make fun stuff, but I want to balance it out.
Oh yeah,
because there's going to be so many people that are like, I normally drink a vodka soda.
Sure.
I don't think I want the salad dressing beef bouillon drink.
Yes.
So it's like, all right, but what if I made you a vodka soda with like lavender syrup?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. As long as it's like you were saying, the best drink you can make for someone is the one they like.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. Drink whatever you want. As long as you like it, I'm happy.
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm learning this as I get more and more into the world of like alcohol and just in general like beverages. Right? Is like I have a little care for anything that people like you said. Like I'm trying to make it to where like you enjoy something because I just want to sit down with you and chat. Right. Like exactly like this. Right? Yeah. Like I don't care what you like. Like it's not me. That's great. Like David likes pickles. I don't. So he can have his pickle ice cream with sriracha, and I'm going to eat like something else, right?
Yeah.
So
there is no way I would eat that. No way.
Was it you that said you would eat it?
I'd eat it in a
heartbeat. No chance.
Love pickles.
These guys send stuff all day, and they sent some like pickle ice cream.
It was a banana split, but it was pickles. So it was a pickle flavored ice cream. Oh. On the side were 2 pickle spears.
Okay.
They put sriracha on top and then dusted it with tahini.
It is filthy.
I'd probably eat that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd probably eat
it. It is absolutely filthy.
Was that your ASMR point of the show?
Well, yes. I sent that to everybody because I thought that's disgusting.
It's a no for me, dog.
I could not. Well, come out. Scott, since you haven't listened to a lot of the shows that we've done, I don't eat sugar.
Definitely out on the sugar.
I don't eat candy. I don't eat cakes, pies, any kind of dessert, things like that. I just found some chocolate that I'm able to eat.
Oh, wow. Look at you go.
It's like 72%.
Oh.
And, it tastes good to me.
Hey, there you go.
I can't stand when it gets that high. It's so bitter.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, but to the point, we just talked about how important bitters are.
And that's right.
That's true.
That's right.
That is true. That's true.
So I don't like a lot of sweet drinks. So if something lends itself to on the sweet side, I'm kind of like, no, that's not my thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've got my hard standards, which are the martini or the
old
fashioned. Sazerac, I love.
Yeah, Sazerac's fantastic.
Whenever I make the old fashions that I make at home, instead of a sugar cube, I use turbinado. Just a little turbinado sugar. Splash the bitters on that. Get that muddled. Add the whiskey, cherry, and a little ice.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's made it happen.
Perfect.
And
it's a great drink.
That's my quick and dirty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
that's definitely not a miss ever. Mm-hmm. We've had those just sitting around a lot of times.
Yeah, and I've thought, I tried those sugar cubes, and I did that for a little while. I was like, that's just too much.
Yeah,
it's too much. But now I've got a little measure, a special spoon that I use.
Yeah,
I put that Demerara in it and mix the bitters with it. It's perfect.
You can't beat it sometimes, man. That's the thing is like I'm going to have my things that are regular and everybody's going to have their regular go-tos. And I am no stranger to just like exactly like what you said, Scott, like tossing a little bit into a glass and just being like a neat whiskey or something, maybe whatever it may be. But, I enjoy what I enjoy and everybody else enjoys what they enjoy. So like being able to sit down and have a good drink and good conversation, like I'll do that any day of the week. Any day of the week. So, Scott, I promised you a really wild list of questions.
Okay.
Do you feel ready for that?
Sure. Yes. I guess so.
It starts out easy, and then it progressively gets more difficult.
I don't think I have anything to hide. I'm a little concerned, maybe the wrong word, but
I will tell you there's nothing to be concerned about. I will also tell you that your face is going to answer the question probably more than your response.
Okay.
Like I said, it starts out really easy, and you did answer this earlier.
Okay.
But we're going to start off with the basic one, okay? So
sure.
We call this the lightning round. It's 10 questions. The point of this is to answer with what comes to your mind first, because that's typically your most natural answer, right? Okay. So it's not really to think about it. It's really more of a, here's what it would be, right? Because that's what honesty would say.
It's also called the lightning round because if you take too long to answer, I've got a button right here that I push that.
Oh, that's what this thing was that you guys connected to my leg?
It's just two metal prongs. It's
it's not a surfboard, Scott. Yeah.
Nothing painful. Much.
So very easy start, and then we're going to get a little progressively more interesting, I'll say. Not more difficult, but more interesting as the questions go on.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Number 1, favorite cocktail, least favorite cocktail.
Black Manhattan. Anything with gin.
Okay. Oh, interesting. See, I like gin. All right. Okay. Fair.
Hey,
if you're going to be in the Olympics, what are you competing in?
What would I like to be competing in? Is that skeleton boarding.
Oh, okay. If you're going to be in the Olympics for something that you are unbelievably good at right now and will take to the Olympics, what would it be?
Cocktail making.
Okay, I'll take it. I love it.
I'm attending.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Like, can you go to an Olympics? I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
If there is a movie that was written about your life, what would it be called, and who is playing you as the main character?
It would be called How Did I Get Here, starring Keanu Reeves.
That is so cryptic.
I could see that.
That is so cryptic, and I love every ounce of it. Like, I can't stop thinking about like the fact that you look a little bit like Keanu Reeves and John Wick, and that like maybe you could just go out and like this is where I'm going to put a pencil through someone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. I respect it. All right, number 4. What is your superhero name?
Scott. Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Great
All right.
Scott.
Yeah, I like that. It's a very office
Great
theme.
Scott.
Number 5. If your life had a theme song that played every time you entered a room, what would it be?
Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
That was
wow. Yeah, it was awesome.
Nailed it.
Everything about that is right. And I didn't even know what it was until it happened, and I was like, this is exactly what it should be.
Wow.
I love that. All right, number 6. If you were to create a holiday, what would it be? What day of the year would it be? And how is it celebrated?
It would be on my birthday, which is September 22nd.
Okay.
And it would be a day where absolutely nobody had to go to work and could do whatever they wanted.
Love that.
Like, not allowed to go to work.
Oh, it's just like
everything
have a day off. It's
No,
like, no, you can't go.
Everybody gets off on my birthday.
Everything shuts down.
Question on that.
Yes, sir.
If it falls on the weekend, do you get Friday off or Monday off?
Both.
Both.
All right.
Why not both?
Why not both? That is how you do
down.
it.
Giving me so much power here. I'm not
That's
going
right.
to not use it.
That's right.
All right, now we're going to start getting into a little bit more interesting here.
All right.
Number 7. If aliens visited the Earth and you were the first person they contacted, how would you explain our existence?
I would explain to them using the dot method and the asteroid belt method so that they would know that we as humans know where we are, at least in our own solar system, and that way they would think we were smart-ish.
Sort of, depending on,
love the ish at the end of that.
You gotta prove. It's like I can think.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all completely idiots. Don't harvest us.
Yeah. No, I am not wearing the tinfoil now. But like, I don't want to have to either.
You got to be prepared for that moment because you don't want to say the wrong thing. It's like, oh, that's the first thing that humanity said to aliens. Like, oh shit, crap, now we're in it. Oh man, scream,
exactly. No, I love it. I love it. That's exactly the way I would go. Try and make them seem like we're at least a little bit intelligent. I'm game. All right, number 8. What's your go-to dad joke?
Oh man, I don't know.
This is a hard one.
This is a hard one. I love dad jokes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that I have a go-to.
I don't even know that I have a go-to, which is, I guess, is why I asked the question, because like it's tough to come back on.
Something's got to happen, right? Like something's got to happen, and you have to make a pun on the thing.
It has to be
true.
in the moment.
Yeah. So realistically, we just say like solid puns in general.
Yes.
Yeah, I can get down with that. Like pun it up. Yeah. Number 9. What is your best pickup line? You can use a lifeline. She is right over there.
Hey, what's my best pickup line? Did I ever use a pickup line? No. All of mine are just like funny and sort of weird.
That's fair.
Was it just like
to make sure that I got home safe from work during
that counts?
that storm?
That counts.
Like,
I'm more of a caring guy than a.
I like that. So was the text like, "Sup, mama? You make it home safe?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
I like it, man. I like it. Hey, I get down with the caring fact. Like, I'm
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think that's better because then pickup lines are inherently stupid, right? Like it never work.
Exactly.
So-
I think that's like the whole point, right? Like it shouldn't work. Like there's nothing about it that should work. Like it should almost be like corny or totally ineffective, and that's why it's effective.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, you know, like I could talk to my wife. Like, there's absolutely no pickup line I ever used. Like, literally, it's like.
No, I could see Nick walking in. I could see Nick. Hey, how you doing? My socks don't match.
That's true, but there is a left and a right sock.
Yeah.
Is there a left and a right sock, Scott?
I think so. I don't know that I
the city backs me.
Wait, let him finish.
I think so, but I don't think it's just maybe whichever sock you put on that foot is that.
It becomes that.
You just inherently know which one is the right one and the left one, right? Like,
are you guys listening?
Yeah, when you take them off, you know. The next morning after they've been washed and everything, no, you cannot tell.
Unless they have
an L and an R.
Some sort of design or
pattern or something.
They do have a design. They have a left-footed design and a right-footed design.
I mean, I'm 36, but I still have tons of socks that have like cartoon characters on them. So like all of my socks mostly do have some sort of design.
Fair.
Yeah, and you always want them to be on the outside. Right. So then you have a left and a right.
Right.
A standard pair of white socks do not have a left and a right.
That's true. That's true.
Unless
it's not.
Unless you have a gnarly hammer toe that's stretched out one side.
Nick. I'm not asking your average 75-year-old, David. I'm asking just your average everyday person.
I resemble that. I'm not 75, but
that's true.
I feel
all right, last one.
All right.
This is the best one, potentially. What mythological creature would you be, and what sound would it make?
What mythological creature would I be? If I can just choose anyone, a dragon.
Absolutely. And it makes dragon sound.
Yeah.
What would that dragon sound like?
I don't know. Like, it depends on which some dragons can talk, you know? So
that's true. So it just sounds like Scott.
That's true.
Sounds like
Great Scott. It sounds like Great Scott. He'd be Great Scott the dragon.
Yeah.
I'm watching a television show called Merlin. And there's a dragon in there that John Hurt does the voice.
Yeah.
And it's got this, strong British accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he also sounds pissed sometimes.
I mean, I respect that. I feel
like the sound of dragon makes you like, and John Hurt's perfect for it because you just need you can just talk, but you need a little bit of gruff.
Yes. Yeah, right. You do. Yes. Yes. You need something in there that's just a little raspy, but not too raspy. But you got to have something in there.
Yeah.
A little flavor.
Okay. So give it to us.
This is Great Scott the Dragon.
Yes.
Hey,
yes.
Love it. Yes.
There we go.
I love it.
There we go.
So something I didn't ask you that is absolutely separate from the lightning round, but it is 100% relevant. As a bartender,
yes,
you have seen so many people.
Yes.
So many people. You've worked with tons of people. How do you know when someone is getting stood up for a date?
They sort of let you know when they show up by themselves and then leave before they finish their drink.
Yeah.
I guess you don't know. I mean, some people can do that.
Sure.
I would never do that though.
Right.
I don't understand the people who go and order a drink half of it and leave.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna do that.
Right.
It doesn't matter who shows up on the other side of my table. I am finishing my drink.
Right. I bought this, okay? I'm drinking this.
100%.
I guess I don't know. The thing I get way more than that, especially in past places I've worked, is there tend to be these guys that bring every one of their dates to their spot, which is your bar.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So you start to see this same guy with different girls all the time.
Sure.
And there's a certain amount of power in
knowing that.
You're gonna tip me well, right?
Yeah.
I know all four of your girlfriends.
So when you walk over to the table and you're like, this guy is awesome. He always tips me 200%.
Right. And the day he doesn't tip you well,
right?
The next time you go up, Bud Light, and you had what'd you have last night?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you just throw him under the table a little bit. Yeah,
oh
no.
Wait, no. You were blonde last week.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, somebody else. My mistake.
Yeah. Or see, but you can't come at him with a name because you might whoopsie and be like, "Oh, Tiffany, it's great to see you again." And she's like, "Yeah."
That's my sister.
Yeah, you picked the right name.
Yeah.
Tiffany, that's my sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No.
Then you
Tiffany. That's Mr. Tiffany is my mother's name.
Then you have a bloodbath.
Yeah, you have a whole different animal going on there. No, I had to ask that one because that is one of those things that's like, inherently, I would say in the service industry, you see so many different people, and being involved a little bit with their evening is definitely a thing, right?
Sure. I guess I haven't really experienced that much, like people getting stood up on dates, or to answer your question, I didn't realize that's what happened, so I never know.
Yes. So it's hard to pick up on though, right? Like
it can be. So he asked me the first time I was ever on when I was a bartender, and what I could tell, and you'll notice it now that you're going to think about this. All right. They're going to walk in by themselves.
Yes.
Every time someone walks into the bar, they're going to look straight at the door.
Yeah.
And after about 45 minutes of doing this, they look sad.
Oh, yeah.
That's
like, dang
that's
it.
fair. That's certainly fair.
But like it sucks too, right? Like I've seen that in the wild, just being out in the world, and I feel like I don't know that happened. I can just kind of feel like that's what happened, right? And I'm like, that sucks.
That does suck.
Fun.
That does suck.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who it is. You feel bad for somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't want that to happen to people because, like, no matter who it is, it's like, hey, man, I'm here for you now. Can I come have a drink with you? Like, I feel like I'm invested then. Like, I saw it at dinner multiple weeks ago now. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know if that's what's happening, but I feel like I should be like, give him like a great Gatsby nod,
Send a drink over there.
Yeah.
And with that, I think it's a good time for
That's fair.
last
I do
call.
believe it is time for last call, which is back to the long shot, right?
Yes.
All right. So, Andrew, you got this for us this time.
Yep.
And this is Union Horse Distillery here in KC, right?
Yes.
Not too far from here, actually. What do you know about it other than that we just had a great cocktail with it?
Yeah, so like I said, when it becomes a white whiskey, whiskey gets its color from aging in barrels.
Sure.
So this is still aged in an oak barrel, but like I said earlier, it's got to be less than 2 hours.
Sure.
So I don't know the exact time on it, but I just know it's less than 2 hours. White whiskeys generally are going to resemble kind of a burn of a moonshine-esh. It was kind of created back when everyone wanted moonshine. Moonshine's illegal. So white whiskey was made in place of it so you can kind of, get away from the illegal side of moonshine and be able to enjoy something that not only has the burn of it, but less alcohol.
Sure.
It has kind of a sweetness to the nose. It's...
Yeah, so with being aged a lot less in the oak, it doesn't have time to get the flavor of the oak. So you get more of the barley malt, all of the wheat inside of it. You get the sweetness from that instead of just the straight oak barrel.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, right? I can honestly tell you that I've never had a white whiskey. I don't know what to say about it. I like it. I would definitely recommend it. But it does feel like it should be exactly what you said, like moonshiny, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't have the burn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It almost, it nears a little too close to vodka. It's a very smellless, tasteless liquor.
Yeah.
So it's all based on the ingredients.
I just need an expert opinion on it. What do you think?
Smooth.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
It's certainly smooth.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would use it for.
Yeah, that's I mean, except for like
fine. Well, like right. What we just had was good, but I don't know. Like as far as like other whiskey cocktails,
right.
I don't know that I would use this. I mean, you could sip on it. That's perfectly fine.
You definitely miss the wood.
Yeah,
if you're doing it in some of the more practical whiskey cocktails.
I feel like it's just a sipping whiskey, or or a margarita. I wouldn't have thought of that either, though. So
yeah. Well, I guess to me, like. Okay, so the idea, like we talked about with last call, was intentionally to be non-biased and not have any idea what this was. If you poured this for me as like a blind tasting, there's almost a 0% chance I'd have been like, that is white whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it'd be more like a vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd have been my first guess for sure. And I would have sounded like an ass clown because I'd been like, well, it's definitely vodka, looking at it and being like, yeah, now I'm just stupid and I don't know what I'm tasting. But yeah, like it's definitely unique. It's something that I didn't realize was the way that it is, right? Like I didn't realize that this is what white whiskey was, you know?
Yeah. I honestly didn't know it was a thing.
I mean, other than moonshine, like I guess I could have just said moonshine. Like, yeah, it's moonshine. Mm-hmm. You know, that would have been my only other guess, right? Like that would have been what it is. But we kind of had that conversation a couple weeks ago too. It's like, what do you really get out of that other than potentially a flavored drink? Because the opportunity to drink moonshine is so like a coin flip. Like people aren't doing it like they used to. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I mentioned the moonshine is that's what it is. It's a sipping. It's for the people that want to get close to drinking a moonshine without drinking moonshine.
Right.
Sure. Although nowadays, even the legal moonshine is, I think, exactly the same. It's probably 80 proof, just like normal. So
it's good. I would recommend it. I think if I had to give it a number, I'm probably a 7 on this, maybe a 6.5, only because I didn't know what I expected.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what you said. Like, I kind of throw into the grouping here of how I rate this based on versatility, and I have no clue what I would do with it except for the exact drink we just made. I have no idea what I would make with that unless I'm going to sit down and drink it straight.
Well, I'll let you know because I plan on experimenting with it over the next couple of years.
You keep me posted because I am very intrigued by it. It's definitely something I would drink again. I like the flavor of it. It is good. I just don't know what I would do with it. I mean, exactly like what you said, Scott. Like, it's hard to know. And that's coming from somebody that I would say is very novice and, like, leisure about this. So, like, your average person is probably not going to know how to use it.
I think you're right. I think it's got a very unique flavor, and anytime you're dealing with something like that, it takes time to figure out what to mix this with, and probably a lot of experimentation. So it's good that you're going to do that.
Yeah, so my plan off the bat is, of course, going to be an old-fashioned, only because I want to see what the flavor profile does to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good, that would be a great starting point.
Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting to see what you came up with.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, it would be, it's so neutral. It would be a 5 for me.
Fair.
I'm same way. Yeah. I have no idea what to do with this other than to drink it.
I feel like with this would be something that would be like I don't know how it would be, but I would be interested to see how this worked if you were to smoke it.
Yeah,
true.
Hard like part's going to be getting it lit.
Or do what?
Hard part's going to be getting it lit.
Right. If you were to have a smoked drink with this, rather, yeah, exactly. But no, I think that's where like you might be able to do something with it to try and change a little bit of the flavor profile. And whether you do that before, after, or even like inside of a cocktail, like that might change it a little bit. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what I would make.
You'd probably want to smoke the glass.
Yeah.
And then put the whiskey in it.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of my point, right? Is like if you do that, then you're inherently going to have to kind of make something with it, right? Because, like, I mean, at that point, you're basically trying to just smoke the whiskey and make it what you would
a normal whiskey. Yeah,
true.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, with the versatility of it, I'm the opposite of you, Nick.
Sure.
I'm actually 8.5 because it's got a different style of a flavor profile. In my mind, there's so much I want to do with this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree that there's like things I would try with it. I just don't know what would make sense, right? Like, unless you're just like throwing things together, which I mean, sometimes
which is exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, which I mean, that's sometimes what you do, but like I just don't know.
Yep,
I don't know.
Well, for the expert in the room, what's your first thing you would do with it, Scott?
I would mix this. I would do 2 ounces of this and a half ounce of fresh lemon juice. Okay. And about a half ounce of like a rosemary simple syrup, and I also would smoke the glass.
Yeah.
What flavor are you smoking it?
Probably hickory.
Okay.
I'm thinking hickory. I tend to like hickory more. I've worked with cherry wood and all that kind of stuff. Hickory, in my opinion, gives the best flavor. You could do something that we've done before where you could put this in a flip-top bottle, like the growler bottles, and then smoke directly into the bottle and just shake it into the whiskey.
Interesting.
And I think that could give you a more robust smoke flavor.
Okay.
Pretty effective, you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. And something I'd not even thought of was like you said, like a flip top bottle like that. That's a great idea. Interesting. What would you rate this, Scott? What do you think?
I think I'm right around a 7.
Yeah.
Because again, I could sit here and sip on this and be totally great with it. I could also play around with it. So I think a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like I said, it's something I would absolutely recommend because it is good. It's very good. It's just I don't know how to work with it yet, and that's probably just from just genuinely not knowing what I would do with it.
Yeah,
and price point was great, $21.99.
Oh. See, that's a great price for the bottle. That's a great price.
That would bring me up to a 6.
Oh, thank goodness you've moved a little.
Well, and the reason why I rated it at 5 is I'm the same way. I have no idea what to do with this. It's a good sipping. Until you play with it, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's right up there with my average.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's average is different.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that that's kind of the point, right? Like we try to base this as much as possible off of what we would call like your everyday drinks, right? Like, that's kind of hard to say because it's different for everybody. But I mean, I would say kind of like your outstanding like standards, you know, like you're going to go Jack Daniels or, Smirnoff vodkas or whatever.
And my everyday whiskey is Four Roses.
Sure.
So, this is in that range.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I mean, I do enjoy it a lot. I think the price is great. I think that it has the potential to be versatile. I'm just not as creative as maybe you guys are when it comes to making cocktails, so I'd have to really work on it, but I would drink it again. Yeah, definitely. What about the Lincoln? He doesn't drink, but he took a shot once.
Ooh.
Too soon.
Wow.
How dare you make that joke so soon.
Talk about a dad joke.
The dad joke, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a little insensitive. You probably ought to yank that one out.
So anyway,
I say leave that one in.
I like it. It's not a sweet drink, so that ups the bar for me.
Yep.
I like the cleanness, the clarity. I'd give it a good 8.
Yeah, I would be right around there. Yeah. I liked it. Mm-hmm. Definitely liked it. Yeah, you could tell it was not a margarita, but it was trying to be.
Right.
I think I'm going to give this one a 7. 8, I think, if we would have went the sweet and lime juice route.
Yes.
Sure.
I think that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think in that area is really pretty standard. Something that like I said, I would drink again. Could definitely make this into a freezer door cocktail and be happy with it for an evening.
Yes.
Saves for a little while. It's pretty easy to drink. And it's one of those that you know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. Like you're good with, you don't have to worry about like, I don't know if I want to have to hassle.
Right.
But in this particular case, the hassle is nothing. It's very easy. So, well, guys, that about does it for another episode of the Conversations and Libations podcast. Scott, I am psyched that we got to do this. It's been a long time coming. We really appreciate what you do for the city. You guys have just done amazing things, and we're excited to see where it goes and the different things that you guys end up doing. We're definitely going to have to come check some more out.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm really, really excited for you guys to keep going and just, I mean, it's building an experience, like we said. So you guys have done awesome things. We're excited to see it. It's exciting to see you guys getting the chance to do this at really, really big scale. And honestly, like, it's just been fun time, like getting to know the brains behind everything, man.
Yeah, I'm so glad we did this, man. Like I wish we would have gotten to it sooner, but I'm glad it finally happened.
Sure, yeah.
Well, we did have a little bit of downtime, so
a little random off time there for some stuff that happened. So we made that work, and like I said, this is super laid back and chill. There's no hassle here. So, we just appreciate you taking the time out and coming and hanging out with us, and honestly, just giving us your opinion on how things work in the world of cocktails, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So until next time, brother, this is going to be closing up shop on the bar. We're officially closed.